Hi everyone, it's Kimberly from the Westmont Public Library, and today Miss Elizabeth and I are going to be working together to go over a few different sewing basics to help you get started on a few basic, easy sewing projects that you can work on at home. Let's get started. So in order to get started on our sewing project, we're going to start with learning how to thread our needle. To do this, you're going to need scissors, your needle here, and right here what I have is actually just a pre-cut piece of embroidery thread that we're going to be using for a basic stitch. Now the first thing that we want to learn how to do is how to tie a knot at the end of our thread so that the needle won't pull through the fabric that we're sewing into. What I like to do for this is take two fingers and with my thumb hold a tail down on the bottom of my finger here and wrap it around my other two fingers about 1.5 times where it kind of meets going out that way. And then using the tail that I started in the beginning right here, loop that over, loop that over across, doesn't want to do it for me today. And then pull through the loop of my two fingers and then guide it down. So sometimes you get a little loop here, sometimes you don't. If you are beginning, sometimes it's a little bit better to have a bigger knot because if you're kind of working through and pulling a little bit too hard, you don't want all of your stitches to come undone. But basically, you can cut off any excess that you have at the end here. And then you're ready to get started threading your needle. Now that we have our knot, we're going to thread the needle. This is a slightly larger needle, which is a great one to start out with if this is your first time sewing, and will allow for better visibility when threading and stitching. What I'm going to do is flatten out the end of the thread here and slowly work it through the eye of the needle until I can pull it out completely without causing the end to fray. And now we're ready to start stitching. Before I go over the basic loop stitch, I'm going to show you a quick trick to make your stitches line up straighter. Using a ruler and a white crayon, I'm going to gently trace a straight line just slightly below the top of the fabric. This will be how far down my loop stitches will go and will help me to keep a better line across. To start my loop stitch, I'm going to puncture my needle through on the same side where my crayon markings are. This will be the back of my example piece. Pull it until the knot is touching the back of the fabric, but not so hard that it pulls through or begins to bunch with the other stitches. Slowly begin to loop through to the other side and puncture back through, doing your best to stay with the crayon line. And that's a basic loop stitch.
Hello everyone, my name is Elizabeth and I'm a librarian here at the Westmont Public Library, and today we're going to talk about sewing. But before we start talking about it, I want to make sure that we're all safe with our needles. Now, needles are really sharp and small and they're easy to lose. So you're always going to want to make sure that when you're not sewing, that your needle is either in your pin cushion if you have one at home, or you can just take a scrap of fabric and put your needle through it to make sure that you always know where it is and you won't accidentally harm yourself with it if you leave it on the table or if it rolls onto the floor. So this way you'll always be able to find it. So either when you're not sewing, keep your needle tucked in a piece of fabric or in your pin cushion.
For more WPL Kids programming videos, be sure to check out our YouTube channel.